Hello everyone, again. Hi, nice to see you here. We're starting the next live stream, this time about Relationship OCD with amazing Sheva. Let me know, how are you feeling today? How is your weekend going? Okay, I will try once again to invite Shiva here. Let me know if you hear me, if you see me. Let me know what your... Oh,
Morning!
hi!
Hi, so good to see you, Lucas. How are
Yeah,
you?
good to see you too. Oh, sorry. Yeah, I'm ups and downs, but in general, I'm
I
okay.
guess that's I guess that's life. Oh, we have Christy over here. Hi, Christy. Good morning. Good morning, everybody who's here. Thank you for spending your time with us. Lucas, thank you so much for hosting this.
Yeah, I'm so excited to have you here, and I'm really happy, and I'm really glad to speak about ROCD because ROCD uh, is the topic that affects me so much in last 3 years. So I think it's so important also because we both know that ROCD affected not only the sufferers but also the close ones, our wives, girlfriends,
Yes.
or even friends or even pets.
Yes.
So
Yeah, it's one of the reasons why, people always say they're like, there's thinking in the OCD community of, well, why do you focus on a subtype so much? Because there is a really compelling way to think about OCD as all OCD is OCD. And it's interesting because I totally agree with that. And I think the treatment, especially of ROCD, means you're kind of working with the couple, right? You're kind of working with the person's attachment style, and you're working with the societal obsession with the one. So it's like, I think ROCD is unique in that way, and I think I talk about all those things in my book where I'm like, yes, it's OCD, of course, but it's not fair to say ROCD to me. I don't believe it's sort of just purely OCD. I think it's more complicated than that. And I think that's why if you want really good treatment, you got to be addressing a lot of factors simultaneously. Do you find that, Lucas, like in your own recovery or in your own experience of ROCD, that it's like, of course, OCD work is necessary, but isn't there more to it?
yeah, so it is complicated in my case because the, I will tell about this in general. Uh, so it is so complicated, especially when someone doesn't understand what really OCD is, and that all those thoughts are just OCD thoughts and nothing more. And this is really complicated to cope with ROCD, especially when someone doesn't get it, and
Oh,
it is hard. But it's also hard from perspective partners because ROCD can be really, really destructive and can destroy a relationship, can destroy family life, and yeah,
yeah.
it can be
Yeah,
really
that's
tough.
the thing. It doesn't just, again, I don't think any OCD just affects the sufferer, right? It all tends to spill out onto
Yeah.
partners, onto family, onto relationships with people. But our OCD is like the trigger is your partner. So I think you're so right to talk about how much effect that it has. And it's why we started at my center. We were looking for so long for a couples therapist, that could understand OCD, because we kept having these people come in and one person had ROCD and the partner didn't, right? And the partner
Mm,
was really like looking to understand what was going on. And there was all these unique challenges that was really about the ROCD in the relationship. And we couldn't find it. We could not find a couples therapist who sort of felt like they were specialized enough in OCD, but also understood couples. And then we would
yeah,
try and look for, okay, then what about OCD therapists who would be willing to do couples work? We couldn't find that either. So it's funny you bring that up. It's something that we ended up just creating at our centers. We just said, okay, we're going to create a couples protocol. So actually now what we do is we do these 10 sessions. We don't call ourselves couples therapists because we do it time limited, but we bring in couples for 10 sessions and we're like, here are the unique challenges of what it's like to have ROCD and be married and be partnered and be like, co-parenting together. And it's been helpful, I think, for people because there really are some massive pressures on the relationship.
yeah, absolutely. The proper treatment is the key point, and I think it's it can be also helpful because sometimes, or maybe not sometimes, really often, it's really hard to see the difference between being jealous or obsessively jealous, or being uh, or being heated by ROCD thoughts, or maybe, you know, in relationships, doubts is something normal. We
Yes.
we we don't we don't we can't be 100% sure that this is the right person, or maybe we are sure at this moment that this is the right person, but few moments later, after small fight between partners,
Yeah.
we
We're
can
not
we
so
can have
sure.
yeah, we can have doubts if this is the right one or not, and this is absolutely normal. And this is really good to find therapists who, as you said, understand couples, because uh, it's really hard to see this subtle difference. And
Yes.
yeah, for example, in my case, when my ROCD started spiraling so hard, and my wife and I didn't know that this is OCD.
Yeah.
It was so hard to cope with that because my wife was thinking that I am so obsessively jealous, and she was irritated, and she didn't know why I asked her for just anything, where she
Right.
is, with whom, why did she, why she went with full makeup or something like that. And now when I know that this is OCD, it's much easier um, to not engage with that, or to not engage with my thoughts for my wife.
Yeah, thank you for sharing that too. I think a lot of people are going to resonate with the experience of, it's like how do I know what is a real issue in the relationship, right?
Hmm.
Like how do I
Yeah,
know if this is uh legitimate in the sense that like she shouldn't be going out that way or she should be making me feel comfortable, right? Like some people, that's how the thinking starts. Or well, how do I know if my doubts about my partner's appearance or my doubts about their intelligence are those real relationship issues, or are they, excessive, irrational doubt spiral that's created from the condition and I need to ignore it? And I think, Lucas, like that's the number one question of people oftentimes with ROCD, because again, you have the relationships. The question keeps coming up of, well, how much of this is real and how much of this is my OCD? And
hmm,
the funny answer that I give is that it's usually both. Like people will have some sense of I talk about it as relationships. It's 80% what you love in a person and 20% what you even hate but tolerate in a person.
yeah,
And I think people think, well, no, that 20% shouldn't be there. And what happens is the 20% that everybody has in a relationship, right? Your wife might be 80% what you wanted, but there's parts of her that, yes, if people were perfect, we would swap this out or that out, or, we can't
Yeah.
Frankenstein people. But I think we've become pretty intolerant of that 20%. And then the OCD, kind of like as if you were looking at a perfectly white couch, notices that there's like one mark on the couch and starts to go like this at it, right? And that's like kind
Yeah.
of ROCD. That's all OCD. But in ROCD, it's funny. I don't mean to compare our partners to couches, but in a way, it's like this pure thing. It should be 100%. There's a mark on it. And then we get very interested in removing that so that there's no stain, and we feel completely connected, or it feels
Mm.
perfect.
Yeah.
So we really have to watch out for that. But I tell my clients, I go, look, the fact that you wish something were different in your relationship, that's normal. It's just, it's not normal, or it's not helpful to spiral out on that and to have an expectation that your partner can be perfect or will never disappoint you or that you'll never feel jealous, right?
Yeah. Right. But I now I am 90% sure when ROCD hits directly in my mind, because I feel this uncomfortable urge. I think this is the difference between just being jealous
Ah,
and the urge to figure it out in this moment, because you know OCD want 100% certainty right here, right now, not few minutes later. And this urge, okay, I have goosebumps right now when I'm thinking of this urge, because this is really, really hard feeling at this moment.
yes. Oh, that's such a good distinction. I love that you brought that up because you're right. It's like when it's OCD, right? And this is not 100%. We can't give anyone a roadmap to, okay, this is what
Yeah.
OCD is. This is intuition, or, this is something that you don't respond to with ERP, but this is. That would be too easy. But I think you're talking about something a lot of us will resonate with, Lucas, which is like OCD. It's like you have to solve it now or else. Oh no, right? I think of
Mm.
exclamation marks. Like it's like, oh no, did she, was she wearing makeup because she's cheating on you or something like that? And the experience of having to solve that question right now feels 10 out of 10 urgent. Whereas if there is, and I'm not saying that this is 100% across the board, but typically the experience of an intuitive knowing that something might on, it's not that urgent, right? I always say
Yeah.
intuition isn't hurried. Intuition's like, you're going to get to me today or tomorrow or next year. But like, I know that that's not right for you or whatever it is.
Yeah. And also discomfort is really, really at a really high level when we speak about OCD. When we speak about intuition, discomfort, yeah, it can be uncomfortable for us, but not as hard as with OCD.
Yes, agreed. Agreed. And again, it's not a roadmap because I think people will
Mm.
hear us talking about this and go, oh my gosh, well, so then when I'm calm about the thought, does that mean that it's not OCD? So I don't want people to hear that and kind of go like, okay,
Yeah.
so if I'm anxious, we can't use that as 100% guide. But I do think people will really resonate with what you said, Lucas, that if something feels like you have to do it now or else, you have to figure it out now or else, it's always a good idea to just sleep on it, sit on it, wait an hour, wait two
Mm.
hours. Like, I love what happens if I'm confused about whether it's OCD or intuition. I love just going to bed. Like, I'll just go to bed because oftentimes it just resets your nervous system and you might have a clearer look at it in the morning,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. And I think also that's really important is self-experience, because everyone everyone is different. And I know that with my knowledge and with my experience, I'm pretty sure when it is OCD or not. But
Mm.
as I said, everyone is different, and when we will be aware of that, it will be much easier to cope with or to not engage with intrusive thoughts.
And how did you get that experience? Like, I can imagine people listening might go, that's cool. That's great, Lucas. I would love that too. So like, how did you get to a point where you were able to tell the difference?
Yeah. Mm, I I started from the beginning, from since my diagnosis in 2023. I started educated myself because I want to know my enemy,
Mm-hmm.
my OCD, and how can I cope with that. And at some point, my knowledge were pretty good level, and I I feel that. Just I feel that when I started ruminating, it is harder with mental compulsion because it
Oh,
is so
yes.
tricky when I started
Yes.
ruminating and I trying to find the right feeling in my head. But if you are aware about this discomfort and how urgent is this, it is much easier to just stop in in the first seconds, and it's much easier to not perform compulsions.
Uh-huh.
And when I wasn't aware of that, with every single second and minute of rumination, it was much harder to stop thinking, maybe not stop
Great.
thinking, because we can stop thinking about this, mm, stop performing compulsions, because these scenarios in my head was so huge that at the
Great.
end of rumination, I can't remember what was the
Yeah,
starting trigger. Yeah,
totally. Totally. Oh, that's so, I think that's, you're saying so many good points in there. You know, it's like one thing is it just does take experience, right? Like it just does take time. So sometimes people I think come to treatment and they're like more perfectionistic and they're like, okay, if I do everything you say and read all the books and then I'll be fine, right? And it's hard because you kind of just have to like fall into the OCD hole so many times before you go, that's what it looks like for me.
yeah,
And then you're also talking about something else that's really interesting, which is the I agree with you that it's much you know, it's funny in OCD is not an addiction, but in the world of addiction, the sort of saying is it's not the second or third drink that's the problem, it's the first drink that's the problem. Because the
mm,
first drink triggers the addictive mechanism, right?
yeah,
So it's like that first drink, you're already, people think, oh, I have one drink. But by the time you have one drink, your brain is already ramping into like addiction mode. And so
yeah,
similarly with OCD, it's like, you know, we, just like you're saying, we try and teach people, you, if you're already 10 minutes into rumination, it's 10 times harder to get out. It's still possible. Any exit off the freeway is better than doing the whole thing. But like the minute you realize you're in a ruminative cycle, if you
yeah,
kind of like drop and go, drop and get off the freeway, right? Like go. And I always joke, I'm like, punch the gas, like hit the nos, you know what I mean? Like get out of there. Even if it doesn't feel like it's solved, even if it doesn't feel like, well, I didn't figure it out. Well, let me go back. Don't go back, right?
yeah,
Drop and go.
right, right, totally agree. I really like to compare this to these scenarios that OCD can build in our heads, because it's much easier when trigger hits and we have one dot of this scenario. Is much easier to take this dot and throw it away than after 10 minutes or 40 minutes when OCD is
Yeah,
connecting those dots really perfectly. And this scenario
totally.
is so perfect and everything seems to be so true. And there are so many dots uh, in our heads that fit together perfectly. It is so hard
Yep.
to stay
And
present.
And Lucas, neurobiologically speaking, you've just fed the OCD for 15 more minutes or 20 more minutes. So
Yeah,
you think about it as, yes, maybe OCD finds a way to click the rationale into place. So you go like, oh, I do need to leave my partner. They are cheating on me, whatever it is. But also you have to think about it as it's like you have an itch and you're not supposed to scratch it. And there you just went scratching it and increasing the itchiness for 15, 20 minutes. So it's just a feedback loop too, right? You have to think about it as every time I'm ruminating, I'm feeding the beast. So that's just neurobiologically speaking, we just got in the cycle again, and we just have to kind of clean that up again. So I
yeah,
think about it like that. Like anyone listening to this knows, or anyone who's going to listen to, if we post a little recording of this, is going to know that there's no answer at the bottom of that bottle. You know what I mean? Like, again, I'm using a
mm,
little bit of a metaphor here, but there's
yeah,
no answer at the bottom of the bottle. Like, we can drink and drink and drink and drink, and it's not like we go like, oh, I have the truth. We don't. We get more confused the more we drink, right?
yeah,
So think
right.
about it as like, yeah, like you have to instead back away and say, I've never found an answer there, and I'm not comfortable in the unknown, but at least this one, there's a way to live a quality life. This one makes me sicker.
Yeah, yeah, and yeah, this is one point when we are. It is also so funny because uh, I know perfectly that the rumination cycle doesn't help me, and when I perform the same compulsions over and over again for 100 times,
Yeah.
and triggers hit, and I perfectly know it didn't help anytime, but I do it again.
Yep.
We
Maybe
can't
this time.
change anything.
Maybe just this once,
Yeah,
right? That's what
yeah,
we think. Oh, what if I thought about it in this way? I mean, it's so compelling to just go, and people do that with their therapist too. They're like, but if I tell it to you this way, does it change how you're doing therapy with me? Well, if you only knew this about me, would you then think that it was HOCD or as sexual orientation OCD, or would you actually think that I was lying? I mean, the people do that stuff all the time.
yeah, yeah. This is so tricky, and I think that the also important point is in relationship OCD that we can feed our OCD by ourselves, but we can also ask for reassurance in a really tricky way because our our OCD is so yeah, it's so tricky. And uh, at the first time I asked directly my wife, where are you going, with whom, or why do you use perfumes? And then when she knew that this is OCD thing, I started just looking for one smile or for some
Mm-hmm.
some
Mm-hmm.
some behaviors that gave me a short relief, but
Mm-hmm.
it worked like reassurance.
Exactly. Because there's a deeper question there, right? It's like the world of OCD talks about the deeper question is like, how does Lucas, because you're so generously sharing a little bit about your story here, Lucas, it's like, well, the world of OCD goes, well, how does Lucas change his relationship to the unknown, right? And then I think that part of how I think about treating ROCD is a bit holistic and sometimes more holistic than some practitioners in the OCD world do treat. And I always think about it too as there's a part of you deep down that is needing more security and stability within, right?
Mm.
So sometimes when you see something like retroactive jealousy or jealousy issues, or any of the stuff that comes up with the insecurities of ROCD, it's like, am I good enough for them? Are they good enough for me? Am I safe in this relationship? Am I stable? You also go back to mom and dad, right? And we might not talk about that today. I mean, I know that's can be a more private, vulnerable conversation. But a lot of my clients with ROCD, as I talk about in the book, they're also coming from backgrounds where there isn't a sense of perfect So it's a really big task, and it's not something that we can ask our partners to do for us. Like your
Mm.
partner can't be perfect enough to do your work for you. Do you know what I mean? Like that's not
Yeah,
her job. It's not my husband's job to be perfect enough to where I don't have to than my OCD, but also my background, my upbringing, the insecure attachment style that I came to my
yeah,
relationship with. So it's
yeah,
really important that people with ROCD, I think, hear that. It's like, be very clear. Like, what is my partner's responsibility and what is my responsibility? And a lot of it ends up being with
yeah,
us and our
yeah. I
functioning,
know
right?
it is really hard for both sides, but I'm sure that it is much easier to recover when our partners are aware of what reassurance is, what isn't, how can they be supportive to us,
Yes.
and yeah. But I know that this is our responsibility, but when our partners, our family will not understand that reassurance doesn't help,
Yeah.
it
Oh no, it
will
doesn't
be,
help.
yeah, it can be even harder. And my friends who are aware of my OCD, and I started asking them about reassurance, they told me, "Oh, hey OCD, I will not answer that question." Yeah, and this is amazing
Great.
because with my experience also came experience, my friends' experience, and they
Yeah.
helped me a lot.
That's wonderful. Sounds like you have some good friends, Lucas, which I
Yeah,
understand because you are a lovely person as well. I did want to say, Lucas, is it okay if we end at 9:30 today? I'm so sorry. I do have to kind of take off
yeah,
for the day, but but
yeah.
I want to say too, it's like I know, I truly, honestly, in getting on this and talking to you, it's like I think you must have such great people in your life because you have such a wonderful, like passionate energy for this work. I feel like you've become an advocate. I feel like you've become like a
Oh, thank you
real
so much.
it's really impressive. It's more than that. I think your energy is really inviting. It's very healing. So like it's a pleasure to pop on and talk to you this morning, even though it was brief. But I have a very strong feeling that we're going to see more and more of Lucas. I have a very strong
Yeah.
feeling that you are. Yeah, I just really, and I think you know that the OCD community has fully embraced you, and it's like we want more of Lucas. I know you have to fly though to get to us.
Yeah, I'm so happy, Shiva, for this live stream today. And I know that it's so important to speak about it and about not only a romantic relationship. And we can absolutely speak about that next time because
Yes.
this topic is so huge, and we can speak about this because OCD loves to jump between relationships, between partnerships, between friendships, and when I am aware of that, it is much easier to not destroy the different relationships and partnerships and friendships.
Absolutely, absolutely. No, I think there's so much more to be said, and again, I would love to reconnect again, Lucas, and just kind of continue this conversation. I hope we
Yeah,
get to see you at the next OCD
yeah.
conference again
Thank
in
you, Shiva,
person.
so much.
For
Uh,
truly me thanking you for the work you're doing. I think you're absolutely killing it, and you're creating a really cool community on here. So, and by the way, I mean, I have to say, but like, how funny is Lucas? Like, your memes are amazing, and I feel like that's obviously how you started your page at OCD Intrusive Memes, but you're hilarious. So, thank you for everything you do, Lucas. Truly,
thank you
your
so
energy
much.
fuels
Yeah, sending you love from Poland.
capturing it in California. And please come visit us again soon. And thank you to your
Yeah,
viewers here today as well. So such a pleasure, Lucas. Let's reconnect
yeah.
soon, please.
Thank you so much. Bye bye.